All right, everybody. So this is not going to be a long video, but if you're interested in how Albert Lee Terry Jr.'s Zodiac Code works, this is a pretty good tutorial. So I just found this on eBay. I was searching for an hour, just going through envelopes, and I was happy that it took a long time to find this so that I made sure that I'm not zeroing in on stuff that just has nice calligraphy but isn't actually an Albert Lee Terry Jr. product. His stuff is so unique and I'm so used to it, I can definitely find it. So there's going to be a word in here that's not too cool, but I don't even know why he posted this or put it up. I don't know how the people he wants to read it find it. Maybe he's just bored. But I thought, you know what, it is a good tutorial. So um, this right here, this is his little symbol for waving high, always, and see a little hand in the head, and he always signs everything. So this is Albert Jr. So that's the AR. That's his signature, Albert Jr. He's saying hi. So these two things are associated. That's one way to read Albert Lee Terry Jr. code. Now, other members of the Zodiac were a lady by the name of Ellen, or she was going by E or VW Babe. Her man was Charlie. Charlie and Albert were best friends. All three of them were lovers. Okay, just get that in your head and move on. But the thing is that Charlie and Ellen became a couple, had a kid, got married, had a life. Albert got left out of the picture. He was obsessed with Ellen, and he was also Charlie's lover. So he lost Charlie, he didn't get Ellen, and he's always blamed her. And all the things that he does, where he includes etches and pictures embedded in a lot of stuff, you will see images of her because she's always on his mind. So he's really old now. He's still angry. And I don't know when this was posted, but it couldn't have been too long ago. And I was wondering, was this about me? And then I started reading it, and I was like, this has nothing to do with me. And I was like, so happy. But I was gonna just dismiss it because I didn't think it was anything important, as self-absorbed as I am, right? And then I thought, well, you know what? Why don't you just see if you can decode it? And so when I finally got into it, I was like, it was easy. I was like, okay, now I'm moving. There's another person named Ed, and so when the Zodiacs used to say, you know, editor, how the I and the TOR were separated from the ED. So there's a member named Ed. I have never been able to figure out what his real name is or who he is, but he's obviously somebody that's important. So this is all from Albert Lee's perspective, from what I can tell. I don't know if Ed got in on this, but he tried to throw Ed in on it. But here's the translation. So that's him saying hi. That's Albert Jr. That's his signature. There might be messages in here. I don't know what they are, but as you can tell, these are drawings. So he doesn't just do calligraphy, he actually makes pictures within the calligraphy of the drawing. So you see, like this one right here, that person's actually stomping on that little dot, even though it's also an F. But that's significant, all right? So see the Y? The Y doesn't look like a normal Y. It's because he drew that Y, right? So he might have found this tag, which served his purpose, but then he drew the N, or he might have drawn the whole thing. You see the two dots? So that's Morse code. So the N is actually Zodiac. It just is turned in. That's how they hide the Zodiac symbol. So this is Zodiac, and then Y is I in like a lot of languages, Spanish, I think French, some other ones. So two dots Morse code is I. Like acknowledged. However, the military, the Navy uses I. I don't know if they go I as like hi or goodbye, or just say I like I got it. But so this is Zodiac like I got it or whatever. However that works. And so Albert Jr. saying hi. So this is his message. And then in here, right, he's going Zodiac like, look, check this out, whatever, over here. I think that's how they use it a lot. And so here's ELL with the N up front. So that's Ellen S, right? Because her last name was Shigmura, Ellen S. And then now she goes by Ellen S. Lech, Charlie's last name, right? So honestly, please, cover your ears for a couple of seconds if you don't want to hear this. But he's saying that LNS vile whore. That's what this is. This is a hate letter to Ellen. Why he's doing that, I have no idea. So you have Ellen S and then the VLLE. He wants you to say vile and then the HOR. All right. So that's exactly what that is. Again, the Y is I with two dots. That's I, and the N is Zodiac. This is Albert Jr. That's him saying hi. So you come down here. Now there's some drawings in here, right? There's this guy's stomping, whatever. But there are the letters RFD pound, and then it looks like a 3, right? But each one of these dots is also Morse code. So that's E, 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 and E. So it's RE. In other words, this is about. And then the stomping tells you what it is, right? So that's FE, right? And so that means, excuse me, close your ears if you don't want to hear this. That means fuck Ellen. That's what this is about. This is a total diss letter for her, right? And then there is the DE. And all I can think of is I'm going to give this a nicer tone. So I'm thinking that this is Ed if you switch it around, but if you don't switch it around, it's DE and pound. I have no idea what that actually means. I really don't. So I think he's saying something about Ed. I can't swear to it, but I know the RE and the FE, I know what those two are based on what he said up here and how that foot is stomping on that E. He's in a mood. He's definitely in a mood. All right. So then we go back to the back of this thing. So again, you have the zodiac right here and the two dots and the Y. So that's zodiac II, right? And then the E for Ellen, right? And then you see the C apostrophe D. So you associate the C and the D. The C is Charlie. And Charlie supposedly died in 2019. So you're associating the C apostrophe and D, and then the E with the dot right there with the E. So the best translation is Ellen. Charlie dead. And I would imagine that that is a question and kind of a passive aggressive tort. So he's basically saying, are you alone now? Charlie's dead. And it just, that's what this whole thing is, the disc. And then so these things up here, you'll find in a lot of Zodiac things, these are picture indications of the different bases that the Zodiac was at. And so this letter is going out to all the people who were ever part of Zodiac at these different bases. Look up over here, check it out. I'm dissing Elon. So I don't know what this one is. I can't tell. I'll enlarge this later, but this one is, so that's a dry dock, right? But it's a dry dock, and then you see how it extends. So the dry dock that had an extension like that, and then it had two more like little bays or like long docks, right? Was Hunters Point. Hunters Point is in San Francisco, right? It's in southern San Francisco, and then like the K right here. So how the K is kind of like in the middle of this long line instead of just directly connected here. Oh, great, there you go. Um, that's NAS Alameda. So that's what the um, air runway configuration is on that small piece of real estate right there on the other side of the bay from Hunters Point. So he's IIN Zodiac II to Hunters Point Naval Shipyard, NAS Alameda. That's their airfield. So that's a dry dock with an extension. If you see it On Google Maps, you'll see what I mean. And if you go to Google Maps, you look at NES Alameda, then that's that symbol. This is just a straight dry dock. So that's Mar Island dry dock. It only has one dry dock. It's one of the oldest, so they draw that one really simple, right? This is a picture. I have to spin it around to show you the picture. But if I spun it around and showed it to you, it's a female dog. So you get it. You get where this guy's at. And then there's an old man in her head, right? That just looks angry. And so that's the deal. I don't know what this one is. I don't know which base or what that means. There wasn't a base in Riverside. I don't recognize the configuration. It could be Imperial Beach. It could be there's. I think when he draws Coronado, it's different. It's more like a chip, like a broken cookie. So I don't know what that is, right? And then there's something there. I don't know what that is. So that's how this stuff goes, right? I'll drop this down real quick, and what did I do with them? I thought I had them on my desk. Well, I did. I don't. Let me do this real quick, just so you guys can get a closer look. So I'll save that to the desk. Let's save that to the desk. All right, yeah, I was gonna blow this off. That's what I remember. And I started decoding it, so I kind of knew what it was. Let me blow this up. Let me edit it, and then save as a copy on the desktop. Cool. Because when you download them from the web, they don't actually work that well in the photo editor. So let me bring this up a little bit bigger. Okay, so what was it that I wanted to show you? Oh, that was on the front. So again, right here, so that's Elon, and then you see there's like a little guy right there, or a girl, or somebody. So that's Albert Lee's kind of stuff where he actually puts pictures. You see it now? That is definitely Albert Lee when you start seeing stuff like that. So you see pictures are all in here. So when I say that he makes pictures, letters and letters, pictures, this is kind of stuff I'm talking about. I've never seen anybody else do this stuff. So that's how you can really associate like the JonBenet Ramsey, Ransom note, Cheri Joe Bates letter, also, because all this kind of stuff is in there. So this is just some frowning face dude that just seems mad. There's a person here, so he's like Ellen, Juju, Charlie, dead, DE, right? That's what that is. And then this is Zodiac, right? And then II, because they're dots when they're smaller, but he includes pictures in there. Again, can't tell you what that is. That's Hunters Point Naval Shipyard. That's NAS Alameda. That's Mar Island. And then, some dude with something with a beak. All right. So this stuff, this is what I've been trying to tell people. Like, I'm not guessing that this is Albert Lee Terry Jr. stuff. I'm telling you, this is his stuff because this is what he does. Right. And so this is his signature, Albert Jr. That's him saying hello. Like, I'm not making it up. This little guy is surfing or whatever. So that's kind of stuff that he does to validate his post. And you see there's a person here. So when I'm telling you that people like David Orencheck, all these people don't know anything about Zodiac coding, trust me, they're not bad people. They want fame. They don't know anything. They're not going to help you, like, give you any information to actually figure out what's going on. The JonBenet Ramsey note tells you who is involved and in pictures. Again, this is II. We just bring that up. As you can see, there's two people on the end right there. So this is the kind of stuff that validates an Albert Lee Terry Jr. product. So the two dots are I in Morse code, and then the Y is I in a different language. So it's I, and then Zodiac, and then again, like I tell you, so it's ELLNS, Ellen, and then that word, and then you come all the way around the circle, around the horn, and HOR. So that's how that works. So this is the only kind of transposition that they actually use where a letter will be slightly out of place, but it won't be far from the other letters. Usually it's turned around so that you know to move it this way or that way. But he's using this so he knows that people will understand what it is because they know who it is. And that's the beauty of their coding. If you know the people, you know the situation, you can make the adjustments mentally that the coder is trying to get you to understand. So I've been doing it so long, I know that the circle means you're going to go around. It's L and S, and then this, and then you come back around, and you get that, and it's II from Zodiac. So that's a quick tutorial in how Zodiac codes. It's not complicated, but it is highly effective if you aren't on the inside. And so he's posting this stuff on eBay. I don't really remember how I bumped into the first one and realized what was going on, but this seems to be one of his methods. I'm not going to buy this one, although that is an original Zodiac item, because I got a feeling that he's starting to put stuff out here just like bait, and I don't know what's in that envelope because I intercepted three of the other ones that were relating to me. They've said they've mailed them, but I haven't received them yet. But if you want an actual Zodiac document for $3.75 plus $2 postage, United States Postal Service ground advantage, this thing might be worth some money one day when the FBI finally admits to the fact that they've been hiding one of the craziest serial killers in American history for 60 years. So that's my presentation. I'm Stephen Butler. I'm trying to do my best to get these people some justice and some truth out there. All right? Take care. All right, everybody. So this is not going to be a long video, but if you're interested in how Albert Lee Terry Jr.'s Zodiac Code works, this is a